What's the end game? You cannot start a business without knowing the end game. If you disagree, I'm going to show you why that's the case. Why do we need to know the end game? Well, if you're going on a trip, you need to know your destination, or you're wandering aimlessly, wasting gas, you're wasting time, you're wasting resources. Same thing when it comes to business. Knowing your destination with your end game, where you're going, gives you direction. This leads me to today's show. I got a guest, a young man that I know, but I am not super familiar with his company, but we're going to dive into his company. It's going to be a little bit experimental today. We're going to look at it from a point of view of a consulting session, a business evaluation, where we're digging into his business and he's asking questions, and we're seeing how this end game relates to him and how it can benefit you in the long run. Oh yeah, by the way, welcome to a random podcast where we challenge the status quo and we empower people like you to think differently. That's right, differently it is. So I'm going to let my man introduce himself. I'm going to shut up because you know I like to talk and I like to preach. Go ahead, my man.
My name is Noor Trinet. I am an affiliate of Retrofits LLC. Yes, we got the LLC. And essentially, what we strive to do on Whatnot. So, our main source of business has been selling retro clothing, driving from like the early 90s, 80s to the 2000s, and selling primarily on Whatnot. But we've kind of sourced our kind of business to where we are, selling on eBay, Poshmark, Facebook Marketplace, but essentially we just find hidden gems that maybe people are trying to throw away, go to wholesalers, and essentially resell those clothings to the right audience.
We're selling your new clothes that you had back when you were young. You call it retro. I call it my first t-shirt.
Right,
Right.
right.
So, but it's all good. It's all good. I understand. The concept seems very interesting. Now, the thing is, I want to ask you the question. What's the end game, bruh? What is your end game? Like, you woke up, you decided to do this. Where does it end for you?
Yeah. Well, I was actually approached by my brother-in-law, who he was at a family gathering in Miami, and one of his family members essentially retired by selling Disney merchandising. And she's located in Florida, and she essentially told us about this app called Whatnot, and to where she drives a hard business. She does 3 shows a week, and she was able to, quit her 9 to 5 by simply doing these 3 shows each week within a year's time. And I'm not going to go into figures, but she essentially quadrupled her 9 to 5 paying job and does this full time with her husband. And so that kind of sparked the idea in my brother-in-law, and which was like, yo, we need to do this. And I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? What is our goal? And we kind of like surveyed what was popular in our area, what people seemed to want. And essentially, we're in Atlanta, Georgia, and kind of like drive to that and what had the lowest risk in putting investment in, but potentially have the highest returns. And that's essentially, clothing, as I had back here in our little studio here, you know.
Now, now,
So,
now, now, I'm hearing how you came up with this concept.
hmm.
That's not what I'm asking.
Oh, sorry.
Now I heard what it is, but I need you to say it. What's the end game?
What's the end game to any work that we put in? We're just trying to be our own bosses and essentially have an additional revenue stream that we could potentially rely on. The end game for us is, you know, do this potentially full time or have an additional revenue stream for us to live comfortably. We
So
just start.
I heard that when you mentioned that she does it full time now with her
Right.
husband. To me, that's what sold you on being able to do this. So that was the
Yeah.
end game that sold you. So guess what I'm gonna tell you, brother? You being in business, that's your end game. Don't shortcut it. Don't say, okay, I want to go to New York, but if I end up in DC, I'll take DC.
Yeah.
Hell no. Okay. No, I want to go to New York. I
Yeah.
want the end game. Okay. So if you have that insight, then you can do everything it takes to get to that portion. If you have a layup of DC, then you're going to say, you know what? Maybe I just do enough to get to DC. End
Right.
game, end game, end game. I'm doing a
I
little
got you.
preaching. I'll pass
No,
around the
it's all
plate.
good.
I'll pass around the plate a little bit for y'all to put some money in it though.
Appreciate
So,
the
but
collection's
no,
open.
the collection's open, and I do take credit cards, checks.
Uh,
Right, exactly. You might need to do a credit check on you or something like that to make sure everything is good. So the end game, we get the end game. I'm liking the concept and the ideal. Now, again, it's my job to when I'm talking to a new business. I'm assuming you're new. How long you been doing this?
so we're in April of 2025. We started this end of January, beginning of February, so only a few months in.
Okay, so you're still on Similac. Okay, so you're a Similac baby. You're still walking around like that, right? Which is fine because this is the time that is fun. This is the most excitement that there is in it. I'm gonna drill you on questions, and it might get a little uncomfortable. If it does, just do the panic. But hey man, hey, I
Sure.
ain't answering that one. Or hey, dude, I can't turn red because I'm black, but it's okay. You'll see
Right.
some tone change, right?
Yeah, no,
but
absolutely.
I want to make sure that I'm helping you out at the same time because yes, we're doing a pseudo interview, but I want to help you with your business, and I want people actually asking themselves these kind of questions. I heard something about retro T-shirts and finding those. I'm assuming there's not an infinite supply of those, and I'm assuming that it's not like a factory's there with a bunch of retro shirts, real retro shirts, not the
Right.
ones that they manufacture, the authentic ones. So I'm imagining that you're going to all these thrift stores, you're thrifting, and I'm imagining going to flea markets and all these kind of things. You can correct me if I'm wrong when I finish this. Are you concerned about running out of supply? I mean, like, how are you going to keep that going? How are you going to scale that?
Sure. No. So initially it was finding what we had in our closets that we don't, asking friends and family, from the initial jump. But through our process, and we actually get in contact with wholesalers who actually get a bunch of out of date clothing and essentially just buy, 200 or 300 pounds of the merchandise. And along with that, that kind of keeps us stable. But at the same time, we use the internet to our advantage. So going to Facebook Marketplace, seeing the things within our areas within a week. It's work. Half the job is actually inventorying, but sometimes we breathe when we do get the wholesale plug. We're able to kind of have close to about maybe 2 or 3 months of supplies in that one wholesale box that we get. So that's eliminated a lot of like gas mileage, going to flea market, estate sales, thrift stores, is going through these wholesale suppliers.
I'm a kind of guy that likes to look for the thing that's not obvious. And this is something that's not obvious. When I first seen you do it, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but I don't know quite what it is. And I don't know how it will survive because I look at ways to scale things and look for the survival in things, right? So, okay, the end game I said, right? But are you are you looking at maybe taking this and building a business model out? And this is just my thoughts of how you can capitalize on this, right? So I'm asking as a question, but really it's a setup because I'm seeing what you're going to answer. But I'm really telling you that you should set it up as a business model and help people to duplicate and then be able to get residual money off of them being able to do it because they'll be in their local towns with their Goodwills and their, Salvation Armies and different things like that and how they can parlay this in. Have you thought about that and that becoming eventually the greatest amount of income resource and you being able to go past New York and get all the way up to Canada?
Me personally, I it that tunnel vision is blurry, but my team, which is consisted of like my fiance, my brother-in-law, and my sister, they're having that vision. The concept, and it's not just me single-handedly doing it. They want this to potentially be a full-time thing. Now, we haven't gone past the 2 or 3 or 4 year mark of it, but they foresee this being something that can even potentially be a whole store, essentially, of collections.
Now, just in my own personal opinion, and I could be totally wrong because heck, I'm wrong about, well, I say 0.01% of the time. Right. But I wouldn't do brick and mortar right now.
Not
Most
right now. No.
definitely. I would take advantage of the low overhead and take advantage of trying to capitalize on perfecting this formula and selling it to other people as like a franchise oriented type of thing
Right.
where the system's in play and make all the money off of them and have
Right.
them doing all that work. Now that's my free advice. Since you're a guest, you get to get that advice. Everybody else, cut me a check for 10,000. No, I'll just mess with you. They're like, whatever. So let's go into another area. Let's go into the business structure, right? This is sometimes a sensitive area. Sometimes, and then I tell people all the time, you don't got to know the answer. And, it's not like you expect it to. It's not like you went to law school. It's not like you built 20,000 companies. You're trying to find this stuff out. So never think that, oh, I got to know the answer or I look stupid. No, people in business, you know your business. You know that thing that you do, and everybody else has that expertise. And that's why you bring them into the fold. What kind of structure did you do with your company? Is this a sole proprietorship with partnerships? Is it you said it's an LLC? I think you said
Right.
LLC at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So would it be an LLC? And you might not know the nuances, and I'll explain them if need be, and not trying to put you out on Front Street. But you mentioned your sister, your wife, your brother-in-law, right?
Brother-in-law.
Okay, so it's four of you. Now, are all four of you members and have a portion of ownership in the company, or it's just two of you have ownership in the company, and the other ones are just supporting people as family?
So we all have ownership equally.
Okay, so it's split into fours, is what you're saying.
Correct.
With two side over here and two side over there, who wins? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. So
No.
I assume your
Yeah.
wife wins because you want to go to sleep.
Well, and that's how it initially, because we all have different responsibilities, essentially. You see me in front of the camera, and I'm the salesman, essentially. I am the face.
Right.
But we have, with respect to my sister, my brother-in-law, and my fiance, they are the ones doing the research. They're the ones they are essentially during the live shows, they're essentially the
Production crew,
moderators.
yeah, and
Yeah,
moderators.
the
So
moderators,
they're the engine. They're the engine inside of the
Right. I'm just the
car.
pretty face.
You're the pretty face. I know how you feel, brother. I know how you feel.
Yeah, I have because like we're all playing to our strengths. Me being that individual who, I mean, I was a theater kid and I'm not shy in front of the camera, which essentially to sell and whatnot. I mean, half the time people might just watch a show just to watch the show and tip you if you and tip you, but they need that human interaction to make that more personal interaction. My brother-in-law, he's doing a lot of the scouting and monetization of the products that we have, as well as my sister and my fiance. They're doing a lot of the packaging and facilitating, going through here, going there. So it works for us because we all are playing to our strengths, and no one's necessarily getting jealous of the other individual because of X, Y, and Z. So that's why we're able to kind of split things the way that we have.
Okay, all right. All right. So I'm gonna give y'all a hand for that, right? I'm gonna give a hand for that. Now that's a setup because I'm coming with the whammy.
Sure.
Baby, can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain?
Yeah.
Yes. Sunny days. Everybody loves them. But baby, can
Yeah.
you stand the rain? I know I can't sing. If I could sing, I wouldn't be doing this, right? Okay, but what I'm saying is, it's sunny now. It's enjoyable
Right.
now. I've been there. A partnership is like a marriage. You got a double marriage going on there with your fiance. It could be rough moments when the disagreements or things go awry. Uh, I always advise people to have in their bylaws and to have in their operating agreements to have ways that disputes will be settled. So that way no one can be in their feelings per se. And that if someone's out or something of that nature, that there's an exit strategy in that paperwork so a person can exit stage left without them disrupting the whole ship, right? That is extremely important. So look, I don't expect for you to know that out front. because you haven't been burned like I have. I always
Mm,
say I learn from being burned, so you can learn from me, from my burn. Right? I have had partners that we had to move offices, and they show up the next day, and the place is empty.
mhm.
That's how we parted ways. Okay, being younger and full of ego and the whole work. So I'm saying that anybody listening to you as well, nor that just you want to take care of that paperwork while things are
Right.
good, right? Because never good to try to take care of that when things are sour. So kind of keep that in mind if you don't have that in mind at this moment. So I don't want to kind of like rain on your parade, even though I
Yeah.
try to sing that
No.
song.
And in if I may add, contracts, being the business mind that my brother-in-law is, he actually set out terms and conditions because, as far as just the initial, investment going in and how it kind of be divided through. So all of this wasn't just like, like, oh, let's start a bar, let's get it
Right.
like a bar kind of
That'll be
thing.
cool,
This was
dude.
done, right? This was done very craftedly and very carefully in intentions that we're running it like a business, treating it like a business, and putting more efforts in business from the very jump. Like expectations were set even before we put any dollars or any investments into it.
And that's the way it should go. It shouldn't be emotional. It should be business. It should be looking at it from a plus and minus standpoint. Now, the passion gets in behind it to make it thrive and grow and things of that nature. But business is business, so you have to handle that. Question: I'm subject to this. Um, my space that I'm in now is subject to this. Tons of us are subject to this. People who they experienced it when TikTok was banned for a minute. We are all codependent on a platform.
Mm.
And you said who not, what not? What you said? What's the name again?
Whatnot.
Whatnot. I'm making up stuff. Who not, what not, who that, that. But anyway, you're dependent on that platform. Like I'm dependent on YouTube at the moment, which I do have strategies on, not being totally dependent on it. But people are dependent on TikTok, and that really shook up people
Right.
when that ban happened. So tell me, how do you feel about that? And is there any ideal or measures in the back of y'all's mind, or maybe possibly written down, of formulating your own type of platform to be independent of that?
Not our own platform, but we are utilizing other platforms that don't have the same capability as Whatnot. For example, eBay, um, in our research is very excellent because Facebook Marketplace, Posh Market, we've learned through research that, and the same thing in anything in business, we need to diversify our portfolio, meaning we need to have other forms of revenue stream. Because Whatnot is just a show that we do once a week, but it's kind of like, what do we do when we're not on Whatnot? But as far as creating our own platform, um, not yet. We haven't gone that far. But
You can
we're
tell, you can tell,
definitely
you can tell my end game's the moon all time,
right.
right? Like, come
No,
on, slow
no.
down, dude.
Yeah,
We just starting to walk and stuff, man.
right,
But come on, we're
right.
infants, right? Don't worry. When it's time to get there, come holler at your boy.
I
I
got
got
you.
you.
I got you. Having your own app, that might be pretty cool. That might be pretty
Right.
cool, or
But
something a
but
platform.
okay, again, giving you free advice, giving you free jewels. I'm dropping the gems. Okay. When you build out the model and you start to teach other people and pseudo franchise that concept, then you have your own platform. Cause now
Mm,
they pay you a platform fee on top of it, on
I like
top
that.
of it, on top of it. And then they're hooked on you and they're dependent on you. And if they ever decide to go away from you, you unplug and they lose everything. I know people are like, that's cruel. I said, no, that's
That
business.
is
Right. So again, I'm giving you the gems. Now, If y'all go IPO with my concept, I got evidence. This video, man. I just want a little something, dog. I just want a little something. I
Yeah.
got an end game too, man.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Yeah, no, yeah, that's if you hear any whiff of that, I'll know it came from this. So
Most,
we might slide you a couple free shirts.
oh, brother can give us some free shirt.
Hey, you
Oh
get
my
free
goodness.
shipping.
Oh my God, I get free shipping. Oh my God. Okay, I see how you're gonna be. That's right. That's right. As long as you shipping shirts with money wrapped inside of
Right,
that'd be
right,
cool. We
right,
got that concept all day long. You said, yeah,
right.
okay, yeah, I got you.
I got you.
So thinking of that, right? Do you think people get your shirts more for a nostalgic reason or collections reason or a monetary flipping purposes or something?
That's up to their discretion.
Okay, okay.
As long as they pay and it goes through, they can do whatever they want with it, you know? Uh,
He like, I don't give a flip. They can take it and use it to wipe their butts. I don't care. As long as they pay me my money. I get I
as
get I
long as
get
the
that.
check clears, they can do whatever they
Right.
want. They can
Right.
do whatever they want.
And I get that. I get that. So let me ask it from a different perspective. Cause you totally right. I don't give a flip.
Sure.
The money good, they can do whatever they want
Money
to do
good,
with
I'm good. Yeah.
it. So let me ask for this perspective. Looking again, this is business, right? I'm coming at you, coming from a consultant standpoint, digging into your business. Same as y'all folks out there. I'm hitting y'all the same way. Ask yourself this question with your business. Who's your number one, number two, and number three audience? And which one would you focus the most on? And who do you think is going to buy most of the shirts? Bam. I know, I know, I know. Answer, please, sir.
So, number one, our main driver, at least from based off the analytics and demographic that Whatnot has given us, or at least based off the inventory that we've pushed, has definitely been early to people within that late millennials. So, a lot of people that listen to Green Day, Blink 182, that very much Southern, you know what I mean? So, at first, we thought it was just things more related to Disney and Marvel and things like that. At first, our initial things was just Disney products, but we didn't notice that it wasn't selling as much. As we started advertising ourselves, we noticed that a lot of rapper t-shirts. When I'm saying rapper, I mean like new age, like some Tupacs, some Death Rows, Snoop Dogg's, hell, even Cheech and Chong, all these types of
That's hey, that's
rappers.
goaded, boy. Cheech and
Right.
Chong is goaded. What you talking
See,
about, boy?
exactly. See how you got excited for
Oh
Cheech
yeah.
and Chong?
Oh hell
So
yeah.
exactly. So it is that more pop culture uh types that we noticed that were kind of helping us, and the ones that were just selling instantly, like it wouldn't be up for about for a week. I guess to say our number one is anyone definitely within the millennials that have a true grasp or a liking to what was popular in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So it's generally of that later millennials or early to late millennials. Number two audience has definitely have to be not necessarily sneakerheads, people that really love snapbacks, because not only with t-shirts, we're doing actual, sports hats related. And
Okay.
we've noticed that majority of our inventory that came through, or people that was paid the high dollar amounts, who'd pay $20 plus, even close to about $100 for a particular snapback. It's the number one audience that kept us in a steady growth. But what had exceeded it was these individual collector item snapbacks that have things from back in the 90s. So that would be our number two audience. And honestly, our number three audience is just the new followers that happen to strum across our page. Um, in every show, we've had about an average about six first time buyers, and they just happened to scroll and see our feed and our show, and we're able to track them based off of what was going on currently in the video live or the title or just whatever. So number one, later millennials. Number two, the sneaker snapback aficionados. And number three, just general new followers that happen to uh, come across our page organically, or if sometimes we might do a little paid boost.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you, folks out there, if you ain't on your game like that, then you got work to do. Look, I'm gonna promise you. I promise you, I did not give him any of these questions ahead of time. Okay, I told him I said I'm gonna go hard on you, right? And I thought I had him on that one because because all he cared about is they buy it in check cash. He
Let's
didn't
get that
care.
clear. Yeah.
He didn't care. He didn't care what happened to it after that. So I'm
Well,
like, oh, I got him. I said, I got him on this thing. I got him. And he came back with one, two, and three. And guess
well,
what? And they make sense.
credit to our team, though, especially because after each show, while we're packing everything, my brother-in-law is literally reading the analytics. These many people are these new followers that came through. Which were the items that moved? Okay, in our next supply drop, we need to look for this, this, and this. So after each show or after each thing that sells, we were like, okay, this is the moving the needle. So we need to focus on this demographic. We're gonna like a lot of thought and process. We're not just like, and mind you, the first initial shirts that we bought, I was just like, oh, there's a logo on it. There's some cool graphic. Let's buy it and sell it. Nobody, like our first show was, it didn't go the way I thought it went. So it's just through trial and error that we just knew all of this.
You know what? And you said something very important. And I'm going to interpret it for you. I'm about to get in trouble. I'm gonna interpret it for you.
Oh boy.
Every team has to have a nerd behind it.
Oh, no, 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 no
No,
nerds.
I'm messing
I'm a
with.
nerd.
I'm not messing with. I know you're a nerd, so that's why I know it. I'm just I'm messing with you. Know what I'm saying? You have to have somebody whose mind's on the analytics, on the numbers, on the thing. Everybody, see, people go into business think, oh man, it's cool, man. Yo, I'm gonna be out there like flossing and yeah, the showboat. That ain't what it's about. That's not what it's about. You need to be engaged. You can't be worried about trying to be cool. You got to be on your numbers, man. You got to know why the wind blows. So no, I was just messing. Tell
Nah,
your
nah,
brother-in-law
yeah.
if he watches the video, I was talking about you, not him. I want to open up the floor in case you have any questions of me, how tos or whatever, if there is any, before we end the show. Anything?
No, you brought up an actual end game that may have low risk but potential high reward is in that app, essentially. And again, I said brick and mortar because that's what's whatever, but
Right.
essentially brick and mortar has more overhead than than there is anything else. And that's depending on foot traffic. And unless you have a very unique niche location and everything that can fail. So, in your experience, in regards to the app route, could you just more expand on that? Because you might get free shipping for this.
Boy, I tell you what, I might get free shipping, man. Look. I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna be prime. I'm gonna be like the prime man of Amazon. Get everything.
Yeah.
Uh, this is my concept for you. Okay, my concept is that you spend the next year perfecting the formula. What works, what doesn't work, what platforms to do what on, when to do it, and your brother-in-law, being a very analytical person, can be documenting this every day, all the time, so that you guys get the recipe not only to be successful yourself, but keeping in mind as you're putting the formula together that you're going to be teaching Sam and Larry and Susie
Mhm.
and somebody else, right? So you're having a two-lane thing going in your head. Okay, for us, for them, for us, for them. When you perfect this formula and you start making the money that you need for yourselves to be able to unplug and to be independent, have financial freedom, and run this by yourself, you can turn around and sell this either online or you got seminars, you got all these things, webinars online, and showing people how they could be independent, how I used to be like this, and it's true, not fake bull crap, right, like some of these people
Right.
online. When you're doing that, it's just like a franchise restaurant. McDonald's is not in the food business. McDonald's Corporation.
Real
McDonald's
estate.
Corporation's in the real estate business.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Croc figured out, right? Because the business was losing tons of money. before. He had to figure out, like, how do we make money? It was owning the platform, owning the real estate, having that ownership and letting people build on top of it and teaching them the franchise, how to do the formula, how to do it just like you did it, right? But they have to plug into your platform. Now you have pseudo ownership of their businesses, and now they're just multiplying your stake across the world. And anybody who wants to unplug, you own the platform. So if somebody wants to sell their McDonald's, the person got to buy the land who they're buying it from, right?
Right.
Or they gotta lease it. If they say, "Hey, well, we want to tear it down and build something else," no, I own the platform. You can't do that. So you have the anchor of owning everything, storage, the whole works, everything. That's the concept. Own as much as you can of the platform, and then you can sell them your wares. Okay, hey, we have a better payment system. Oh, we have a better storage system that's made and designed just for this. We have a buyer's department that can help you find this vintage and retro stuff and give you. So you start plugging all these things in, and they are basically, and I hate to say, I know it sounds gross to some people, like, oh man, they're worker bees for you to continue to build your empire, but at the same time, they are independent worker bees because they don't work for somebody else. So it's a win-win, man. That's the end game for your business. 100% guarantee you. That's it right there. Now, the key is how fast you can get there before somebody else tries to get there too, right? But the cool thing is this: there's more than one pizza joint. There's more than one grocery store. So there's more than one clothing store, more than one gym. So it's not so much like you can't do it because somebody else is doing it, but if you can get the brand in there first. So I would say continue grinding, doing what you're doing. Yes, and that's why I say you have to know your end game, your destination. If you know that's your end game and you know you have to get there quicker, guess what you're gonna do now? You're gonna put your foot on that gas a little bit harder than you would before, right?
Mm.
So that's why I say you gotta know your end game. Because if you didn't know your end game, then you just be like, well, I got it on cruise control. We cool, man. We cool, right? And by the time you get to your destination, you're like, damn, somebody else built a town here. God
Mm.
dog, I gotta pay them to enter. I gotta pay them for the gas. Oh shucks. Yeah, if you would have got here just 2 months earlier, it could have been yours. Dang, I knew I should have went faster. Follow me?
I understand. I understand.
If you ever need anything, let me know. Focus. I want you to stay locked in. Hey, this is my boy Noah. Go over and check out his business. And it's on Whatnot, you said?
We're on Whatnot, Facebook, Instagram, retrofits. Yeah, no, I'll be sure to give you the links so you can pop it out.
Yep. Be right down there in the
This is right
description so
down
y'all can
there.
go
Yeah.
check out my young brother on that one right there. This is your boy J.I. Random Podcast. And don't forget, check out these videos, yo. He ain't there just hanging around for no reason. They're for your knowledge. This your boy J.I. Holla at you on the other side, baby.